G'day, today I'm going to show you how to install a 2-inch lift kit on a 2010 R51 Nissan Pathfinder. This is a 2.5 diesel, so let us begin. So, basic tools we need. I got a full socket set, got this from Repco. Very good tools, been using them for years. You're going to need your kit. So what I have is king springs. I've gone just raised rear and heavy duty front because I've got a bull bar coming. So that should be 50 to 100 kilos extra weight, it reckons. Spring compressors for the front, maybe the rear. New top hats came with the EFS Elite shocks. And I've got some new bushings to hopefully be able to press in. So the stock spring has a rubber insulator on the bottom coil. The new setup doesn't come with one, so I'm going to get some of my spring compressors on this, compress it down, use an 18mm and an 8mm to take the top lock nut off, undo it, take the compressor off and throw it on the new one, and reverse process with the new hats. So you've got the spring compressors on. So you want them even on each side, as high as you can get them. I got the air tool, give them a crack, just be careful, make sure it doesn't slip off and shoot across the room. So yeah, the top nut is still on, undo that once the pressure is off. That's one spring assembled with the oscillator on the bottom, insulator I mean. It took me 20 minutes to swap them over. I don't have enough powerful enough air compressor to do the spring compressors too quick, so all by hand. It's not too hard. Shock and spring are installed. I had a few hiccups, but I'd never done this before, didn't read instructions, but figured it out. I had issues with shock lining up. Nowhere was it mentioned on any of the install kits, and on these top hats there's a little arrow or a piece of rubber sticking out with a notch there. Point that towards the inside, line this bolt up evenly with the bottom of the shock, so it all should line up, and make sure you wind the top down about that much, otherwise there's still too much length in the shock and the rubber that getting that in is a pain in the ass. But once I got that down that far with the spring still compressed, yeah, everything just lined up, bolt went straight in, and I've torqued everything up. To make this job easier, undo the steering arm bolt, undo the sway bar bolt, undo the two sway bar mounts there. You don't have to worry about the other side yet, because there's enough room in that to get everything out of the way to get to the shock. Once that's out of the way, everything just drops apart and falls apart. Easy done. Alright, so I'm on the other side now. I've just taken the wheel off, I've jacked the car up, got it on two jack stands, one under the frame there, one behind the trolley jack there. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this pin out, take that bolt off, remove the steering arm from being in the way. Then I'm going to loosen the sway bar bolts, take those ones pretty much out, and I've already taken that one off today. Now, some people say you should replace these little circlips, but I'll just flatten it out in the vise and it should be good to go. Right, I think it is 22 on top. Yep, 22. Breaker bar. Now, according to Nissan's torque settings, like Newton meters, these are pretty meant to be tighter than that, so I don't really want to believe their settings. Good heavy hammer makes everything easier. Good idea is to put the bolt back on, almost in line with the top of the nut, because there is no way I can damage the threads. It's got more surface area until it goes. There we go. seal's broken. Undo the bolt, and there she falls out now, instead of potentially hitting and missing. Ah, shit. Just watch out for the bolt underneath. Alright, so I've undone that. I'm going to undo those now. So it is a 17 mil on them. Alright, they're undone. Sway bar can move, jingle, it's out of the way. There's a sway bar, there's a steering arm. So you got clean access to that bolt, and the top here, you get your trolley jack under there, and the knuckle, and jack up when you need to get better access to other bolts. You don't have to, but it makes it easier. They should be a size 15. No, the stock ones are 16, the EFS ones I'm putting on are 15, so things do change. Bottom nut is an 18. This is the longest bar you got. This one should be pretty tight. It's not too bad. Alright, so the shocks and spring are in on this side. That bolt was a pain in the ass to get through once again. Just, yeah, obviously with the alignment and adjustments, things aren't perfect. The spring was pushing it towards us, so yeah, just gave it a few good kicks with my foot. Have a, where is it? I had a center punch to put through, and then had the hammer to bolt through gently behind it to get the first half in, and then it was just a matter of getting a flathead screwdriver behind the shock and wriggling it until it all slipped into place. So now reverse of pulling apart, steering arm, sway bar, and then tighten up those guys, and then wheel back on and you're done. Try and find some little bumps to go up and down to settle the suspension quickly, and yeah, then just drive it for a couple days as is without an alignment, just to let it settle, because my tyres are worn out and I've got a flat tyre over there which is too old and flat to repair, so I've luckily got a shit pair of tyres to wear out until I desperately need an alignment. So see how we go. If the top knocks, I'll get the upper control arms replaced, but that's about it. Rear upper control arm and spring carrier. I've just had the Superpro bushings pressed in at one of our local shops. It's 50 bucks a side. So these are the camber adjust. So those center splines just push out. It gives you half a degree negative or minus. So I've done the other side already, and when it's lifted it actually sits even, so you don't get that silly toe in like you do on the front. There's the rear, so facing the actual front of the vehicle there, that's how it'll go in. That's given me, I think it's 1 degree positive push on the toe, but with the adjusting ring setting it dead even flat like that seems to bring the toe in pretty perfect, just on eyesight matching with the front. So yeah, I'll install it and go from there. Got that in, you just leave it loose so it can sit in there, because there's going to be a lot of movement required to line it up with this knuckle bushing here. So what I'll do now is I'll get the upper control arm, which will, yep, I had it right, sit like this. Make sure these two are aligned the right way, so I'm sucking it in towards the vehicle to get a half a degree extra negative camber when it's on its lift. And make sure you grease them up, because polyurethane or whatever they use, harder rubber tends to squeak a fair bit. So I've got this old white grease. It's for polyurethane. I got it with an olefane kit a while ago, and it works pretty good. But if it starts squeaking again, you're going to have to just get some kind of silicone spray it in there every now and then. After water crossings, full driving, yeah, they will squeak a lot if you don't keep the lube up to them. Yeah, so I'll put them in, leave everything just loose so there's no pressure on the actual bushings, because the wheel's going to droop up and down, and you tighten them up once you've got weight of the vehicle on them, so they're in their natural sitting position. Otherwise you're putting undue stress twisting that bushing when it's not in its actual normal sitting spot. So yeah, I don't have the actual torque settings. I'm just going to do it up bloody tight because it was bloody tight to get off. Got all this back together, just tight, not too tight yet. Ball joints back in. So got the spring ready in there, but I've got to jack it up higher there, so I've got enough room to get the trolley jack under there, and then place that jack back under there as support for the car. So I'll jack that up slowly, adjusting as you go, because there's a lot of twist and movement in the actual metal. So jack it up, give this a wriggle to line it all up, and yeah, slip the bolt through. It's easier with a friend obviously, but you can do it by yourself, no trouble. Yeah.